You ask just about anybody their feelings about Congress, and it's a pretty good bet somebody's going to say they don't ever do anything, all they do is fight. Well, it turns out it's not entirely true. Congress is actually getting a lot of stuff done this month. The problem is the stuff has very little to do with improving the economy or making your economy more secure. So what are they working on? Andrew, bring us up to date.
Well, okay, we'll start with today. Today's Monday, July the 9th, 4 weeks until Congress closes through Labor Day. And despite his pleas, Congress is not considering the president's push for middle-class tax relief today. So what is Congress, specifically the GOP-led House, doing? Well, on Wednesday, the House is going to vote, wait for it, to repeal health care reform. The 31st time they'll have voted to repeal reform, even though any repeal effort is dead in the Senate, would certainly be vetoed by the White House. Next week, defense funding. The House is going to vote to stop the automatic defense cuts the lawmakers agreed to in the debt limit debate last summer, but House Republicans differ from their way to pay for it beyond cuts to domestic programs, so this vote already and also dead in the Senate or at the White House. Coming the week of July 23rd, business regulation, or as the GOP calls it, regulation relief. It's being billed as a way to get government out of businesses' way so companies can make more money, but critics say it's a sellout to businesses while putting consumers at risk. So again, whatever the House does is going to be washed away in the Senate. And sometime by the end of the month, Congress will vote on taxes. The Republican tax plan likely to contain more tax cuts, another vote that is dead in the Senate. And while Republicans claim that all of these ideas would benefit the economy eventually, none of them provide any help right now. And there's reason to think the economy needs help right now. Unemployment stuck at 8.2%, stagnant job growth, also uncertainty in Europe leading to questions here, and consumer confidence at a 5-month low. And that's not counting a whole slew of economic trouble scheduled to arrive January 1st. That's when, as we mentioned before, all the Bush tax cuts set to expire. You see what the top end and what the rates would do, but the low end rates would go from 10% to 15%. Also, $900 billion in automatic cuts to Medicare, defense, and other programs that are scheduled to kick in. The payroll tax cut ends. That'll jack up your taxes 2%. And unless Congress takes action, Rich, extended unemployment benefits will end when January begins.
Okay, but you got people at home saying, Andrew, I've heard this all before. Is there really a consequence that'll happen if these guys don't get their act together?
You know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at what some other folks have said about January 1st if all of these actions go through as scheduled. You got Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke, who called it a massive cliff of spending cuts and tax increases. The Congressional Budget Office thinks it'll push us into another recession. And the Heritage Foundation, very conservative group, says that the changes on January 1st would jack up the average tax bill for the average family by more than $4,100. Slight impact.
Say, if it's typical politics here in an election year and a lame duck Congress, the public just pays a little bit of attention because November won't be the only important thing that happens this fall. They're going to be paying more out of their own pocket, and some really, really rough stuff's going to be happening, let alone our credit rating and where we stand, right?
Well, yeah, and I would expect most of the stuff to actually get taken care of between Election Day and the beginning of the new year, but that's a whole 6 months of the year gone by without anything being done to help the economy.
They're going to be screwed come the beginning of the year.
You would tend to think so.
Yes.